200 kilos of muscle advance through the vegetation. The ground trembles. The birds fall silent. In the misty mountains of the Congo, silverback gorillas reign over a green empire where every dawn could be the last. The jungle does not forgive. Neither do they. This is the heart of Africa, a territory where light struggles to penetrate the canopy and where every shadow may conceal death. The Virunga Mountains rise through the fog like ancient sentinels, guardians of a secret the world took centuries to discover. Here, on slopes exceeding 3,000 meters in altitude, dwells the greatest of all primates, the mountain gorilla. His silhouette emerges from the giant ferns, first the shoulders, broad as the trunk of a young tree, then the head, crowned by a sagittal crest that reveals a jaw capable of crushing bamboo stalks as if they were paper. And finally, the back, silver, gleaming beneath the scarce rays that pierce the foliage. He is a dominant male, a silverback in the fullness of his power. Silence. The group follows him. Females with infants clutched to their chests, juveniles mimicking every movement of their leader, babies playing without yet understanding the rules of this world. A family, but in the Congo, family is not merely a bond, it is survival. It is the difference between existing and disappearing. The silverback stops, his nostrils flare. Something has changed in the air. It is not the familiar scent of damp vegetation, nor the metallic smell of approaching rain. It is something else. Something that activates every fiber of his instinct. Something he has learned to recognize during 15 years of leading this group through countless dangers. Danger never announces its arrival. Among the shadows of the undergrowth, two yellow eyes observe. They do not blink. They do not move. The forest leopard has found its prey. Not the silverback. Too large, too dangerous. Its gaze is fixed on something more vulnerable, an infant that has strayed just a few meters from the group while plucking tender leaves from a shrub. The jungle holds its breath. The cat is a machine of evolutionary precision. 70 kilos of elastic muscle covered by a coat that blends with the patches of light and shadow. Its claws, curved like daggers, dig into the damp earth. It prepares. Every tendon tightens, every sense sharpens. Its pupils dilate, capturing every last photon of light available in the gloom of the undergrowth. But the silverback has not survived 15 years in this green hell by chance. His gaze sweeps the perimeter. He detects the anomaly, a pattern that does not fit. A stillness too perfect among the ferns. A silence that should not exist where insects never cease. The roar that erupts from his chest is a primordial sound, an organic thunder that makes the leaves vibrate and paralyzes all movement within 100 meters. He rises on his hind legs, arms extended. He beats his chest with open palms. The sound reverberates like ancestral war drums that have echoed through these mountains since before memory existed. The message is clear, unequivocal, deadly. The leopard evaluates. The yellow eyes calculate distances, speeds, probabilities. The gorilla is slower, yes, but a single blow from those arms could shatter its spine. A single bite from those jaws could crush its skull like a walnut. The equation is simple. The risk exceeds the reward. Not today. The cat dissolves into the shadows with the same fluidity with which it appeared. It will return. It always returns. Patience is the most lethal weapon of Congo's predators. It can wait days, weeks. The moment will come when the silverback lowers his guard, when an infant strays too far, when opportunity presents itself without risk. The silverback remains standing for long minutes. Only when he is certain the threat has retreated does he emit a low grunt, the signal to continue. The group sets off, more compact now, the infants firmly held against their mothers' chests. Every female knows what just occurred. Each one holds her baby tighter. There are no peaceful strolls here. The family crosses a clearing where the sun's rays manage to penetrate the canopy. For an instant, the leader's silver coat gleams like polished armor. He is a warrior, a guardian, a father who would kill and die for his own without hesitation. Evolution designed him for this. Every muscle, every instinct, every behavior exists for a single purpose, to protect his family. But the Congo hides more than leopards. Less than 2 kilometers away, another silverback advances, younger, more ambitious. Without a family of his own, without established territory, without females to perpetuate his lineage, he is what researchers call a solitary male. A challenger, a bomb of testosterone and frustration seeking the only thing that can give him a future, a group to conquer. His eyes scan the forest, he sniffs the air. He has detected the trail, fertile females, vulnerable infants, a leader to challenge, everything he desires and does not have, everything he is willing to seize with his own hands if necessary. Conflict is inevitable. In the depths of the Congo, where civilization is barely a distant rumor, the laws are simple. The strongest leads, the weakest obeys. And those who challenge the established order must be willing to pay the price. There are no courts, there are no negotiations. Only brute force determines who has the right to reproduce and who disappears without leaving descendants. The fog descends over the mountains like a funeral veil. It covers the trails, conceals the threats, transforms every tree into a specter. The dominant silverback guides his group toward the nighttime feeding area. They will build nests from branches and leaves. They will sleep huddled together to conserve heat at altitudes where temperatures drop to near freezing. But tonight, something will be different. Somewhere in the darkness, the solitary male also prepares. Not to sleep, to stalk, to study his rival's routines, to find the exact moment when strength becomes vulnerability. He has waited years for this opportunity. He can wait a few more hours. The Congo never truly sleeps. Beneath the blanket of stars that barely filters through the perpetual clouds, 1,000 silent dramas unfold simultaneously, snakes hunting rodents, owls descending upon unsuspecting prey, insects devouring corpses before dawn discovers them. Death works without rest in this forest, and one gorilla keeps watch. The silverback keeps his eyes open while his family rests. His ears catch every creak, every whisper, every alteration in the nocturnal symphony of the jungle. He knows he is being watched. He does not know from where. He does not know when the challenge will come, but it will come. Instinct never lies. Dawn brings no peace to the Congo. It brings revelations. The fog begins to dissipate, and with it emerge the silhouettes of a forest that seems designed to confuse. Trees covered in moss rise like columns of an abandoned cathedral. Vines thick as human arms hang, forming impenetrable curtains. And among all this, moving with a grace that belies its size, appears another of this ecosystem's giants, the forest elephant, smaller than its savanna cousin, but no less imposing. Its tusks, tinted a faint pink, point downward at an angle evolution designed for pushing through dense vegetation. Its ears, rounded capture sounds that travel distorted among the trunks. And its feet, broad as plates, move with a delicacy that seems impossible for an animal exceeding 4,000 kilos. The entire forest depends on its steps. Where the elephant walks, it creates paths that other species will use for decades. Where it defecates, it plants trees that will germinate far from their parents. The seeds that pass through its digestive system emerge ready for life. Dispersed kilometers from their mother trees, it is an involuntary gardener, an architect of the ecosystem that shapes the jungle with each passing day. But today, it is not alone. A herd of 7 individuals advances in single file. The matriarch leads with sure steps. Behind her, females with calves that barely reach their mother's knees. And closing the formation, a young male who will soon be expelled to seek his own destiny in the solitude of the forest. The silence between them is communication. Their stomachs emit infrasound, frequencies so low the human ear cannot perceive them, but which travel kilometers through the dense vegetation. This is how they coordinate. This is how they warn. This is how they maintain cohesion in a place where getting lost means dying. It is a language that predates words by millions of years. The matriarch stops. Her ears unfold like radar dishes. She has detected something. Not an audible sound, but a vibration in the ground. Something large approaches, something that does not belong to the known patterns of the forest. Her experience of more than 4 decades tells her she must prepare for the unexpected. The group compacts. The calves are placed in the center. The adults form a wall of flesh and tusks. But the threat does not come from a predator. From between the trees emerges another elephant, a solitary male in full must. His condition is betrayed by the dark streaks running from his temples, by the acrid smell that permeates the air, by the aggression emanating from his every movement. He is a walking hormonal bomb, dangerous, unpredictable, capable of attacking anything that stands in his way. The matriarch evaluates. She could confront him. She has lived more than 40 years in this forest. She has seen males in must before. She has protected her herd from leopards, from human traps, from swollen rivers that swept away everything in their path. But experience has taught her something that youth ignores. Not all battles must be fought. Sometimes victory lies in retreat. She emits a deep infrasound, the signal to withdraw. The group turns with coordination that seems rehearsed over generations. They plunge into the denser vegetation, where vines form natural barriers and where the maddened male cannot maneuver easily. They leave him behind, bellowing his frustration at trees that do not answer. Surviving sometimes means knowing when not to fight. Kilometers to the north, where the terrain descends into valleys covered with bamboo, another drama unfolds. The gorillas have awakened. The silverback stretches his enormous muscles, tearing leaves from the makeshift nest that sheltered him through the night. One by one, the females rise. The infants rub their eyes with tiny fists. A new day, the same threats. The group descends toward the feeding area. The bamboo here grows in thick canes that only a gorilla's jaws can process. They tear it, peel it, chew it with mechanical efficiency perfected over millions of years of evolution. Each adult consumes more than 20 kilos of vegetation daily. It is constant work, exhausting, necessary to keep those massive bodies functioning, but the silverback does not eat. His eyes scan the perimeter while his family feeds. Something in the air has changed since last night. The scent, stronger, closer. The intruder has not retreated. He has approached during the hours of darkness, crawling through the shadows like a predator. A warning growl escapes his throat. The females raise their heads. They know that sound. They have heard it before every confrontation, before every real danger. Automatically, they gather the infants. They cluster together. They wait. The ritual of preparation for conflict they have witnessed so many times. The solitary male appears at the edge of the clearing. He is not larger than the dominant silverback, but he is younger. His muscles do not carry the wear of years defending a group. His joints do not know the chronic pain of old wounds. His hunger for power is absolute, fed by years of solitude and frustration. The two males size each other up. There are no roars yet, no chest beating, only gazes that calculate, that evaluate, that search for weaknesses. In this moment, the battle has already begun. It is a psychological war where the first to show doubt has already lost. Every blink, every breath, every minute movement is analyzed by the opponent. The dominant silverback takes a step forward. The intruder does not retreat. The tension is physical, tangible. The air itself seems to thicken between the two colossi. The females watch, motionless. They know that the outcome of the next few minutes will determine their future. Who will lead them? Who will protect their infants? Who will have the right to father the next generation? The first roar tears through the silence. It is the intruder who emits it, a formal challenge, a declaration of war that resonates through the trees and sends birds fleeing from their perches. He rises on his hind legs. He beats his chest with all the force his arms can generate. The sound is a battle drum that reverberates among the trunks. The dominant silverback responds. His roar is deeper, more experienced. It carries in it 15 years of battles won, territories defended, rivals defeated. He rises in turn, and when his palms strike his chest, the sound seems to surge from the earth itself. It is the sound of authority, of earned right, and then they charge. The impact is brutal, 200 kilos against 200 kilos, colliding at maximum speed. The ground shakes, the nearby trees vibrate. The females retreat with the infants, while the two titans lock in combat, where only one will remain standing. Bites, blows, attempts to bring the opponent down. Blood stains the silver fur, growls become screams. Neither yields, neither can afford to yield. This is everything, this is the future. This is the difference between perpetuating one's genes or disappearing from the evolutionary line. This is the Congo in its purest form, where leadership is won with blood, where power is maintained with violence, where every day can bring the end of an era or the beginning of another. The rules are ancient, immutable, written in the genetic code of every primate that inhabits these mountains. The two males separate, panting. They observe each other again, wounded but not defeated. The first round has ended, but the war has just begun. While the gorillas fight for supremacy in the heights, another predator stalks in the lowlands. The forest leopard is a different creature from its savanna cousins. Smaller, darker, its spotted coat has adapted over generations to the perpetual gloom of the forest. Where the African leopard hunts under the scorching sun, this phantom thrives in the shadows. Where that one pursues its prey in open fields, this one ambushes in a three-dimensional world. Because the Congo leopard also hunts in the trees. Its body glides between branches with a fluidity that defies gravity. Its retractable claws dig into the bark, finding footholds invisible to any other animal. Its tail, long and thick, acts as a counterweight as it advances along slanted trunks that would be death traps for other predators. It is a 70-kilo acrobat moving in absolute silence. Today it is hungry. 5 days have passed since its last kill. A red duiker that barely provided sustenance for 48 hours. The Congo jungle is generous with shelter, but miserly with opportunities. Every successful hunt is a small miracle of timing and precision. One mistake means another night with an empty stomach. The cat descends from its nocturnal perch. Its paws touch the forest floor without making the slightest sound. It begins to move, slow, methodical. Every step is calculated to avoid dry leaves, to not disturb the sound patterns that prey use as an alarm system. And then it catches the scent. It is not gorilla, it is not elephant, it is something more vulnerable, more accessible, the aroma of a group of colobus monkeys feeding in the canopy, oblivious to the danger approaching from below. The smell of prey that do not suspect death has already begun climbing toward them. The leopard evaluates. Colobus monkeys are difficult prey, agile, with quick reflexes and excellent vision. But they have a weakness. When they feed, they lower their guard. They concentrate on the tender leaves. Their eyes look upward, toward the fruits, not downward, not toward the shadows where death waits patiently. The cat begins to climb. Its movements are so slow they seem part of the forest itself. 1 branch at a time, 1 meter per minute. Patience elevated to a form of lethal art. The colobus continue feeding, their specialized stomachs processing leaves that would be toxic to any other primate. 20 meters, 15, 10. The leopard stops, its hindquarters tense like steel springs. The yellow eyes fix on the target, a juvenile that has separated slightly from the group, too focused on a branch laden with shoots. 3, 2, 1. The attack is a lightning bolt of fur and claws. The juvenile barely has time to emit an alarm cry before the jaws close on its throat. The group explodes in panic. Screams, desperate leaps between branches, uncoordinated flight in all directions. But it is already too late for one of them. The leopard descends with its prey hanging from its jaws. It carries it to a thick horizontal branch, away from the ground where hyenas and jackals might try to steal it. Here, in its arboreal pantry, it will eat in peace for the coming days. The jungle recovers its silence. Kilometers to the east, where the primary forest gives way to occasional clearings, an impossible creature materializes among the vegetation, the okapi. For centuries, it was a myth. Local tribes spoke of an animal with the body of a horse, the legs of a zebra, and the tongue of a giraffe. European explorers laughed at these descriptions, fantasies of superstitious natives, they said, until in 1901, science had to admit its error. The okapi exists, and it is exactly as the legends described. Its coat is a deep reddish brown, velvety, absorbing the scarce light of the undergrowth. Its hind legs display black and white stripes that seem painted by a whimsical artist, and its tongue, bluish and prehensile, extends more than 30 centimeters to strip leaves from branches that no other herbivore can reach. It is a walking ghost. The male okapi advances through his territory marked with urine and secretions from his hooves. Every familiar tree bears his chemical signature. Every trail has been memorized during years of walking the same circuits. He is a solitary animal by nature, territorial. Encounters between males usually end in violent fights where necks are used as clubs. But today he seeks something different. The air carries a scent that alters his usual behavior. Pheromones. A nearby female has come into heat. His biology commands him to abandon the safety of routine and venture into unknown territory. The imperative to reproduce overcomes any caution. The risk is enormous. Every step outside his comfort zone exposes him to leopards that do not know his capacity for defense, to poachers' traps that do not distinguish between species, to other males who will defend their females with the same ferocity with which he would defend his own. But nature does not tolerate cowardice. The okapi quickens his pace. His ears, large and mobile as radar dishes, constantly rotate, catching any anomalous sound. His nose filters the air, seeking both the promise of mating and the warning of danger. He finds both. The female is close. He can smell her clearly now, but he also smells something else, the musky scent of another male who has had the same idea, who has detected the same pheromones, who is equally determined to claim the right to reproduce. The okapi stops. Among the giant ferns, a familiar silhouette emerges, another male, larger, with skin-covered horns that gleam in the dim light. The two animals study each other. The ears flatten against the skull, the heads lower. The legs plant firmly on the ground. Combat is inevitable. They charge at each other, the necks intertwine like swords. Lateral blows seek to unbalance the opponent. It is a violent dance that seems choreographed, but which can end in serious injury or even death. There are no rules. There is no mercy. The Congo makes no concessions to romance. Here, the right to perpetuate one's genes is won with strength, with endurance, with the will to risk everything for a chance to transcend. The female watches from a distance. She will not intervene. She does not have to. Nature is already deciding for her who will be the father of her next calf, the strongest, the most persistent, the most worthy of continuing the line. It has always been this way. It always will be. In the crowns of the tallest trees, where light finally penetrates the canopy, another primate dominates its realm, the chimpanzee. A close relative of humans, it shares more than 98% of its genetic code with us. But the similarities do not end with biology. Like humans, chimpanzees form complex societies, alliances, betrayals, wars. The Congo has witnessed conflicts between chimpanzee groups that last years, that claim dozens of lives, that alter territorial boundaries as human wars alter maps. Today, a group of hunters prepares. There are not many of them, barely 8 adult males in the prime of their strength, but their objective does not require numbers. It requires coordination, intelligence, the ability to anticipate the movements of prey that also thinks, that also plans, that also fears. They are after red colobus monkeys. The alpha male leads the expedition. His fur is bristling, his eyes alert, his body transmitting an energy that infects the others. The other males follow him in silence, none of the screams and hoots that characterize their usual communication. This is different. This is a military operation with planning and assigned roles. The group splits up. 3 males ascend through the trees on the right flank. Another 3 take the left. The alpha and his second remain in the center. It is a pincer maneuver perfected over generations. The colobus will be surrounded before they know they are being hunted. The minutes pass. The tension builds. Somewhere in the canopy, the colobus continue their routine. Feeding, grooming, playing. They have no idea that 8 predators are approaching from multiple directions, slowly closing off escape routes. The trap tightens with every passing second. The alpha emits a short cry. It is the signal. The chimpanzees on the flanks attack first. Their function is not to capture, it is to push. To force the colobus to flee in a specific direction, toward the center, toward where the alpha and his second wait, with arms ready to intercept. Panic erupts in the canopy. The colobus leap desperately from branch to branch. Mothers with infants clinging to their bellies. Juveniles who have barely mastered the long jumps. Males trying to distract the hunters to buy time for the others. But the trap has already closed. There is no escape. The alpha intercepts a juvenile in mid-flight. The impact is violent. The 2 primates fall toward a lower branch where the alpha's second is already waiting. Between them, they immobilize the prey. The colobus's screams mix with the hunter's whoops of triumph. The hunt has ended. But here comes the part that sets chimpanzees apart from any other predator. They do not share equally. The alpha eats first. The best cuts. The brain, considered a delicacy. Only when he is satisfied does he allow others to approach. And even then, distribution follows lines of political alliance. Males who support the alpha receive more. Those who have shown signs of dissent receive less or nothing. Meat is currency, power. The tool with which alliances are built and destroyed that will determine who leads the group tomorrow. Politics written in blood. While the chimpanzees feast, kilometers to the south, the battle between the gorillas reaches its climax. The dominant silverback bleeds from multiple wounds. A deep cut above his left eye impairs his vision. His arms, which have dealt devastating blows for the past hour, begin to show fatigue. 15 years of leadership weigh on every muscle. Every scar from past battles seems to burn with the effort. The intruder is also damaged. A bite on his shoulder has torn muscle tissue. His lower lip hangs, split by a punch that would have knocked out any human. But his youth gives him an advantage that experience cannot compensate. Endurance. Recovery. The ability to absorb punishment and keep going. The 2 males circle each other. The females watch from a distance. Some have already begun to reposition themselves. They read the signs. They see the veteran's exhaustion. They feel the momentum shifting. If the intruder wins, they will not fight. They will adapt to the new leader as their ancestors have done for millions of years. It is the law of the jungle. Brutal, pragmatic, indifferent to sentimentality. The intruder charges again. This time, the dominant silverback cannot contain the impact. He falls backward, his back striking a trunk. The intruder presses his advantage. He throws himself on top, bites, blows. He tries to subdue the veteran through sheer brute force. But the old warrior has one last resource. With a roar that seems to surge from his entrails, he sinks his fangs into the attacker's forearm. He bites with the force of jaws that have split bamboo for decades. The intruder howls in pain. He retreats instinctively. It is the mistake the dominant needed. He rises with a speed that belies his exhaustion. He charges, he strikes. A right hook impacts the intruder's temple with the force of a pile driver. The young male staggers. His eyes lose focus for a second. A second is enough. The dominant silverback attacks without mercy. Blow after blow, bite after bite. He unleashes 15 years of battles fought. Sleepless nights, responsibilities this young pretender could never comprehend. It is not just strength he is deploying. It is history, legacy, the right earned with blood to keep what is his. The intruder falls, not unconscious, but defeated. His posture changes. It is no longer defiance, it is submission. He lowers his head. He averts his gaze. The universal gestures of surrender among the great apes. The dominant silverback stands over him. He could kill him. He has the right. He has the strength. But he does not. He emits one last roar, the final declaration of victory that echoes through the trees. The intruder crawls backward, rises with difficulty, and disappears into the vegetation. Defeated, humiliated, but alive. He will try again. Solitary males always come back, but not today. And when he returns, this silverback will be waiting, if he is still alive by then. The females approach cautiously. They recognize the victor. They reaffirm their loyalty with gestures of submission and grooming. The infants, who watched everything from a distance, run toward the family group. Order has been restored, but the price has been high. The dominant silverback limps as he guides his family toward a new resting place. His wounds will need weeks to heal, and during that time of vulnerability, other predators will be watching. The Congo does not permit weakness. It never has. It never will. The forest floor holds secrets the canopy does not know. Beneath the leaf litter accumulated over decades, in the gloom, where light is barely a memory, lives one of the Congo's most lethal creatures. It has no claws. It has no fangs. It does not have the muscular mass of a gorilla or the speed of a leopard. It has venom. Jameson's mamba glides between exposed roots with a movement that seems liquid. Its body, a brilliant green that blends perfectly with the vegetation, can reach 2.5 meters in length. Its scales reflect the scarce light like polished emeralds. It is beautiful and absolutely deadly. Its venom is a cocktail of neurotoxins and cardiotoxins that simultaneously attack the nervous system and the heart. A single bite can kill an adult human in less than an hour. For smaller animals, death comes in minutes. There is no second chance. There is no margin for error. The snake is not actively hunting today. It has eaten recently, a rodent that had the misfortune to cross its path 3 days ago. But that does not mean it is not dangerous. Mambas bite in defense as readily as they bite to feed. And in a forest where every step can disturb their rest, encounters are inevitable. The wounded gorilla does not see it. His attention is divided between the pain of his wounds, watching over his family, and searching for medicinal plants he instinctively knows he needs. He advances along a path he has walked hundreds of times, a path where he has never encountered danger. Today is different. The mamba has chosen that precise spot to thermoregulate. A small patch of sunlight penetrates the canopy there, warming the dry leaves where the snake rests. It is neutral territory under normal circumstances. Today, with a wounded and distracted silverback approaching, it is a death trap. The gorilla places his hand centimeters from the reptile. The mamba reacts by instinct. It rises, The front part of its body coils like a taut spring. Its mouth opens, revealing the black interior that gives it its name. The hiss it emits is a final warning. The silverback freezes. His eyes, still affected by the swelling from battle, focus on the threat too close. He knows snakes. He has seen other gorillas die from bites. The genetic memory of millions of years screams at him to retreat, to make no sudden movements, to respect this enemy he cannot defeat with brute force. An eternal second passes. The mamba evaluates. The gorilla is too large to be prey. It does not represent food, but it does represent threat. The question its primitive brain processes is simple: attack or flee. The silverback makes the decision for it. With deliberate slowness, he withdraws his hand. He takes one step back, then another. His eyes never leave the snake. Every movement is calculated not to provoke the strike that could mean his death. The mamba slowly lowers, its body relaxes, the mouth closes, the hissing stops. It has defended its space without needing to expend venom that will take days to regenerate. It is a victory for both, two predators that have chosen prudence over confrontation. The gorilla circles the area by an alternate path. He will find his medicinal plants elsewhere. He will treat his wounds with leaves and bark that generations of his ancestors have used before him. Nature provides the remedy alongside the poison. The trick is knowing how to distinguish them. In the lowlands, where rivers snake, forming meanders that change with every season, another giant begins its daily routine. The Congo hippopotamus. Less known than its East African cousin, it inhabits the forest rivers with a discretion that belies its size. More than 1.5 tons of muscle and fat concentrated in a body that seems designed by a whimsical artist. Short legs, barrel torso, an enormous head armed with tusks that can split a crocodile in half. It is the most dangerous animal in Africa. More human deaths than lions, more than leopards, more than snakes. Its territorial aggression is legendary. Its speed in the water underestimated until it is too late. Its ability to capsize boats, a nightmare for any fisherman who ventures too far into its territory. But today there are no humans in these waters, only wildlife that has learned to respect the colossus. The crocodiles keep a prudent distance. The fish seek other stretches of the river. Even the elephants, when they come to drink, choose points far from where the hippopotamus rests. The dominant male emerges from the water. Only his head and part of his back are visible. The eyes, positioned high on the skull, scan the banks. The ears, small but mobile, catch every sound. The nostrils filter the air, searching for any intruder who has violated his invisible borders. A female approaches. Her calf, barely weeks old, swims clumsily at her side. It is a small pink barrel that has not yet developed the dark grey tone of the adults. Vulnerable. Delicious for any predator that could reach it. But no one can. Not while its father keeps watch. Not while this irascible colossus considers every nearby movement a potential threat. His bellow, when he emits it, is a sound that does not seem to belong to the earth. It is something primitive, prehistoric, an echo of times when even larger animals dominated these rivers. The calf nurses underwater. It is one of the few skills it has mastered since birth. Closing the nostrils, sealing the ears, and feeding from its mother's breast while they remain submerged, safe from aerial predators, protected from the sun that would burn their sensitive skin, surrounded by the tons of muscle of their parents. The Congo is a chessboard where every species knows its place. Hippos dominate the rivers, gorillas dominate the mountains, leopards dominate the shadows, elephants dominate the trails. And among all of them, a constant dance of avoidance and respect maintains the balance that has worked for millions of years. When that balance breaks, someone dies. Today, the balance holds. Tomorrow, as always in the Congo, everything can change. Night falls over the Congo like a curtain of black velvet. There is no prolonged twilight at these equatorial latitudes. The sun disappears behind the canopy, and within minutes the darkness is total, absolute. A blackness so dense that human eyes could not distinguish a hand in front of their face. But the jungle does not sleep. It transforms. The diurnal predators yield their place to the nocturnal ones. The visual hunters are replaced by those who depend on smell, on hearing, on touch. And in this primordial darkness, creatures that are rarely seen emerge from their refuges to claim the night as their territory. The giant pangolin begins its rounds. It is the largest of all pangolins, more than a meter in length, covered in keratinous scales that no predator can penetrate. When threatened, it rolls into a perfect ball against which even a lion's fangs cannot prevail. It is a walking fortress, but its armor comes at a price. It is slow, clumsy, its vision is almost non-existent. It depends entirely on its sense of smell to find the ant and termite colonies that constitute its exclusive diet. Every night it travels kilometers, following invisible chemical trails, digging with powerful claws to reach the underground tunnels where its food hides. Tonight it has found an active termite mound. Its curved, sharp front claws tear through the structure of baked mud with mechanical efficiency. The termites panic. Soldiers with giant mandibles emerge to defend the colony, but they have no chance against this armored invader. The pangolin's tongue unfurls. 40 centimeters of muscle covered in viscous saliva sweeps the interior of the mound. Hundreds of insects are trapped with each pass. The pangolin does not chew. It has no teeth. It simply swallows, letting its muscular stomach grind what its jaws cannot. In an hour, it will consume thousands of termites. The leopard has decided to hunt again. This morning's prey only temporarily calmed its hunger. It needs more, much more. Its metabolism constantly demands protein to maintain the muscle mass that allows it to be the supreme predator of the shadows. But tonight, it is not looking for colobus. It has detected something larger, more substantial. The trail of a red river hog, a wild pig that can provide food for several days. The scent is unmistakable, musky, close. The red river hog is a dangerous animal. Though it may not appear so at first glance, its robust body hides surprising agility. Its tusks, though small, are sharp as razors, and when cornered, it is capable of facing much larger predators with a ferocity that has surprised more than one overconfident hunter. The leopard knows this. That is why it will not attack head-on. It will not pursue. It will wait. It will position itself on the path the hog travels every night between its resting area and the stream where it drinks. And when the prey passes beneath its branch, it will fall like lightning from above. The minutes turn into an hour. The leopard does not move. Its breathing is imperceptible, its muscles tense but without trembling. It is a statue of spotted fur suspended in the darkness. Only its eyes reveal it is alive, capturing every available photon, turning the night into a stage of grays where every movement is visible. The hog appears. Its snout probes the ground, searching for roots and bulbs. Its small eyes, poorly adapted to the darkness, do not detect the threat above its head. It advances confidently along the path it has traveled hundreds of times. 3 meters beneath the leopard. 2. 1. The attack is silent and devastating. The cat falls with claws extended and jaws open. The impact knocks down the hog before it can react. The fangs seek the throat. They find it. They close. The wild pig fights. Its hind legs kick with desperate force. Its own tusks seek the attacker's flesh. A superficial cut opens the leopard's flank. Feline blood mixes with porcine blood on the forest floor. But the outcome is inevitable. The leopard's bite closes the carotid arteries. The hog's brain stops receiving oxygen. The movements become spasmodic, weak, and finally cease. Nothing is wasted in the Congo. Everything feeds the cycle. Everything contributes to the endless flow of energy that keeps this ecosystem alive. The death of one is the life of hundreds, and so it has been since the first plants colonized these lands millions of years ago. The night continues, relentless, generous, eternal. Dawn returns color to the Congo, first the gray, then the green. Finally, when the first rays penetrate the canopy, explosions of yellow and orange paint the highest crowns. It is a spectacle that repeats every day and has for millions of years, and that never ceases to amaze. The wounded silverback awakens. His wounds have begun to heal. The plants he applied yesterday, chewed into a medicinal paste, have reduced the inflammation. The cut above his eye no longer bleeds. His movements, though still cautious, recover some of their lost fluidity. He has survived another night. His family gathers around him as he begins the descent toward the feeding area. The females groom him with dedication, cleaning the crusts of dried blood, examining every wound with surprisingly delicate fingers. The infants play among themselves, oblivious to the battle that nearly took their protector from them. Normalcy returns, but the silverback does not forget. He cannot forget. The intruder is still out there, licking his own wounds, recovering strength, waiting for the moment to try again. Leadership is never permanent. The crown is always in dispute. Kilometers to the east, the elephant herd also begins its day. The matriarch guides the group along paths only she knows, routes traced in her memory during decades of traveling this forest. She knows where to find clean water in the dry season, where the most nutritious fruits grow, where the safe clearings are to rest when the midday heat becomes unbearable. She is a living library, every experience stored, every danger catalogued, every solution archived to transmit to the next generation. When she dies, her eldest daughter will assume leadership, and with it, the responsibility to keep alive the knowledge accumulated over generations. The jungle depends on this memory. Without elephants, the Congo would be a different place, darker, less diverse, more vulnerable. The okapi that fought yesterday has won. His rival lies somewhere in the forest, recovering from blows that will take weeks to heal. The female, impressed by his display of strength, has accepted his courtship. Over the coming days, they will remain together, mating multiple times to ensure conception. Afterward, he will return to his territory. She will raise the calf alone. As okapi females have done since their species diverged from giraffes millions of years ago, there are no permanent bonds, there are no families to maintain, only the biological imperative to perpetuate the genes and disappear again into the shadows. The leopard rests on its branch, its stomach, full for the first time in days, slowly processes the meat of the hog. It will not need to hunt for at least 3 days. Enough time for the wound on its flank to scar over, to recover the strength spent in the nocturnal combat. But even while it rests, its senses remain alert. In the Congo, there is no absolute safety. Instinct never sleeps, and so, as the sun rises over the canopy, the Congo reveals its true nature. It is not a paradise, it is not a hell, it is a system. A biological machine of astonishing precision, where every piece fits with the others, where every death feeds 100 lives, where every birth balances a loss. Millions of years before the first human walked upright, the ancestors of these gorillas already dominated these mountains. Generation after generation, silverbacks have defended their families, leopards have stalked in the shadows, and the jungle has claimed everything that cannot survive. The Congo does not change, the Congo selects. And in this green cathedral where time seems to stand still, only the strongest write the next chapter. The silverback gazes toward the misty horizon. His eyes, still swollen from battle, reflect something that could be interpreted as wisdom. Or perhaps it is only the weariness of one who has seen too much, fought too much, lost too much. But he still stands, like his ancestors, like his descendants, As long as this forest exists, as long as rain falls on the Virunga Mountains, as long as fog covers the valleys at dawn, the giants of the Congo will continue their eternal dance, being born, fighting, dying, being reborn in their offspring. It is the cycle, it is the law, it is life in its purest form. If you felt the power of this journey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next stories of nature in its purest state. Until next time.